Autistic Savant, clarity and confusion, or simplicity and complicated, where these may be different from other people. We have things like Buckminster fullerene, which is 60 atoms of carbon in a geodesic sphere. It will always be 60 atoms of carbon, so it is always simple and clear. Pi is 3.141592, etc. It's always going to be the same. Compare that to a friend or an acquaintance, say, called James. James could grow a beard, he could be in a relationship with somebody, they could break up, they get married, he could have a job, he could get a promotion, he could change jobs, he could have children, grandchildren, nieces, everything. James is in flux, everything is fluid, it's always changing. There is no consistency with being James. As aside from the fact is, you may know several Jameses. So James is confusion, where Buckminster fullerene and pi are clarity. Then we can go on to things like problem solving. If you can analyse clearly what facts are needed to solve a particular problem, and isolate those facts, reject everything else, solving a problem becomes very simple and clear and easy. Explaining why you've rejected certain items and certain facts is very complicated. It's not necessarily saying that the solution to a particular problem will always be right, because you can always add more facts or more information. It might be a lack of that information that stops the problem solving from being accurate and concise, but it's not the method itself. The method is very difficult to understand. That's why some people say you just picture a solution rather than actually work through the solution in a very complex, hard to understand, hard to explain method. Then we go on to predicting emotional responses in people. If you were to say give somebody some flowers, the expectation is that they'll be happy and cheerful as a result of those flowers. However, there is a possibility that previous experience of a particular type of flower that they saw when they were having a bad time may predict or provoke an unfortunate reaction. So it's not always a 100% response to what might seem a very logical and simple act. Then we've got reading emotions. You can attempt to analyse behaviour that you've seen in the past and predict a future response. Since the flowers normally make people happy, you can understand that giving flowers or chocolates or whatever to other people will make them happy. Telling a joke will make somebody laugh. Just because, though, the emotions are predicted, again, there's far more complex things going on in a human being. Far more background stuff. You cannot always predict exactly what's going to happen in any given set of circumstances, because human beings are far too complex to go on just a straight analytical behaviour. However, then what you can attempt to do is control the environment by adopting a standard behaviour, eating the same foods, going to the same places, working at the same location. As long as you keep doing the same thing day in, day out, you minimise the risks of change, minimise the risks of conflict, minimise anything untoward happening, because you're still sticking to the standard behaviour. As long as that doesn't change, nothing that you do in that will change, so therefore it's just other things around you that may change and may affect you. Now, meeting new people means learning new patterns, new behaviours, new actions, new background stories. So they tend to have a small, select friendship group that doesn't change, or only very slowly it changes and adapts, has a new person join. Analyse, think about their backgrounds, find out as much as you can, predict their behaviour so their conflicts don't arise. Conflicts can arise, say, when people encroach on personal space and have physical contact, hugging, touching, holding people. When you reduce the personal space, You reduce the clues and information that come in as far as non-verbal communication. A large part of communication is non-verbal. If you close the distance, you can't see what's going on. Also, you can't predict any violent or unpredictable outbreaks from them. If they're at a distance, you can predict the outcome. If they're close in, you can't predict and react to it. Comedy. Some people say you can't have a sense of humour. Everybody has a sense of humour. It's just that sometimes it may be different. Comedy based upon embarrassment is unlikely to provoke a humorous response, because that kind of behaviour and reaction is really very core to somebody who has autism. You'd like laughing at somebody's social awkwardness. That's not going to be funny. Also, comedy based upon repeated actions. If it's not new, it isn't interesting. If you're just repeating the same joke time on time after time, it isn't funny. It's the same joke originally might have been funny, but now it's just a repeat. You've seen it, you've heard it, no longer funny. Then there's things like rules and laws. As far as somebody with autism is concerned, a rule is a law. Everybody follows it. It's there, it's a structure. It makes sense. It's a way of formalising society. It's very difficult to understand somebody not following the rules. Surely the rules are there for everybody. Everybody knows what the rules are. Therefore, everybody should follow them. Those are just some of the aspects of autism and autistic savant.